My name is Ellen. I am an MK Ultra survivor and a spiritual healer. I broke out of MK Ultra almost 20 years ago and went through enlightenment and ascension. And I have some special expertise in MK Ultra because of my personal experience with it. So I was asked to do some videos on the Mormon Church because I was raised out of Salt Lake City. And with everything coming out with Epstein, as I've told you guys in other videos before, Salt Lake City is a major hub for human trafficking, sex trafficking, and for Anunnaki stories and galactic battles that are going on between the fallen race called the Omnicron Draconians. They're a cousin of Draconians, and they're actually the white Draconians. And they're very, very, very connected to the LDS Church in that region. The Mormons are very, very, very good at mind control. They take the children into church from the time they're born, and every single week they're told, I know this church is true. I know Joseph Smith is the true prophet, and yada, yada, yada. They have to go through rigorous training, morning, noon, and night prayers. They have Monday night family home evening. They have gatherings throughout the week. They have scouting programs, and they're repeating the information over and over and over. I know the church is true, yada, yada, yada. They're masters at mind control. And they are, and of course, I'm a remote viewer, so I also see, even though I've had experiences personally, I also have seen a lot of things through remote viewing as well. And Utah uses the beehive as a symbol for the state. Beehive, okay? Beehives can be a sacred symbology when we work in harmony and in the light of the divine, but it's been inverted by archons, which are demons. And they use the symbol, which also symbolizes the hive mind, which is an archonic program. It does not come from the light, and it's used there to kind of harmonize everybody into an agenda that isn't in alignment with the divine. And so that's where they use a lot of mind control programming, getting all of the beings to kind of work and support the church itself. It's the richest church in the world now, and it's the newest. They are great at pyramid schemes. They understand the pyramid scheming and how to funnel money upward to the top of the pyramid, if you will. Utah and the Mormons also have one of the largest compilations of ancestral history. So they have tracked every single person and who their families are and what their bloodlines. There's a mountain that they have out there where they store all of this data that can be safe from any kind of war, nuclear bombs, etc. So they're tracking and storing material or records of people's blood lineages. Now, again, that can be seen as a good thing and it can be seen as a bad thing. But there's a lot of nefarious things that are going on out there, and a lot of it is connected to the trafficking. Because, again, I was trafficked there. I know all about it, and so I understand how they operate and how they manipulate the mind and how that makes and breaks a soul so that they become more susceptible to other types of mind control. The Mormon teachings are very paralleled with Masonic teachings. The Masonic teachings are basically a hijack of illuminated teachings. They call the Masonic version of it Illuminati, but the real illuminated beings are the ones who originally brought through spiritual knowledge. And because these beings were fallen, not just Mormons, but Masons in general, were fallen, they took those teachings to be literal and began to invert them. So they have created rituals through the Masonic lodges that are the same as an illuminated or an enlightened being, only reversed and turned into something 3D as opposed to what it's really intended and how it works in the spirit world, which is a natural phenomenon. You don't have to go to some church for that. It happens to your soul as your soul journeys through whatever it's supposed to journey through in its life. So ultimately, they've inverted the illuminated, ascended master teachings, and they created the Masonic lodges. And from these Masonic lodges, they split apart and began to take over basically churches, or create churches really. They didn't take them over, they created them. Inverting teachings like the teachings of Jesus, where they wiped out Mary Magdalene's teachings and corrupted the way that they were teaching what Christ taught, to fit their narrative for control, mass psychosis, and of course to get your taxes and tithes. Long ago in Utah, there was an Anunnaki war where the Grand Canyon is. And that's why it looks like a gaping hole there. It was actually an Anunnaki war battleground. And in that region, there are beings that live in the inner earth called the Ant people. There are a huge portal there, and a traffic, what do we call it, a galactic gateway there for negative ETs. And that's why you see so many weird and strange things coming out of Utah. And Utah has some of the most really active paranormal activity in the country, because there is Skinwalker Ranch, and there's been Anunnaki battles there. They found Anunnaki artifacts. They found the red giants. They have found dinosaur bones or bones of dragons, whatever way you want to call it. They have, again, a huge exploitation of the earth, where they're gathering minerals and things out of the earth and harvesting it. They also have the real Area 51. I think it's called Dugway or something like that. It's the real Area 51. Most of what was in Area 51 in Nevada got moved into Utah anyways, and that's where the real Area 51 is now. It's also a huge hub for CIA or three-letter agencies to hire out of. And if you look at the programming that they use for the Mormon girls, they really program you have to be blonde with blue eyes, and you have to be perfect, and you have to be pretty, and yada yada yada, and you can't have an extra pound on your body. And so the women there become very programmed, and there's a mass collective sickness spiritually because of that there. They've also had some of the largest numbers of pedophilia in the country for decades. I used to work for Bikers Against Child Abuse, which is an organization that assists in child abuse, and the records and the numbers that they showed me during the time I was working with were staggering. I mean, staggering. And that's just what's reported. They don't report a lot of it because if somebody, and I worked as a mediator for the courts, and I can tell you this is true, if somebody reports that they were abused, it gets sent to the bishops, and the bishops send them into their inner church counseling, and they do not report it to the police, thereby protecting their members. They also engage in polygamy, and although a lot of them rebuke it now because the government had a cannon aimed at Brigham Young's house to tell them to stop, so suddenly he had a revelation and he stopped. This polygamy also fragments the codes. It corrupts the DNA and the genetic material of the women, and it creates all kinds of spiritual problems that are extremely, extremely damaging, that can last for lifetimes and through generations. But again, from a galactic perspective, the beings who are running that church actually are part of the Omicron draconian race. They're very dangerous beings. They can look right at your eyes and smile, and they are masters at infiltrating spiritual information, smiling at your face, and lying to you directly with a smile on their face. It's because they are soulless beings. There are soulless beings. I'm not saying every Mormon is. I'm saying that the ones who are running it behind the scenes that are part of this group. So I hope that helped. I'll see you guys next time.